Hey bosses, it's Marie from Asian Boss. When it comes to India, there appears to be the stereotype in the West that all Indians are engineers. And the fact that yet another Indian engineer was recently appointed as the CEO of Twitter doesn't exactly help break the stereotype. So are all Indians really engineers? Our Asian Boss reporter Aqsa hit the streets of Mumbai to find out and ask ordinary Indians how they feel about the stereotype. Take it away, Aqsa.
Have you heard about the recent news of Twitter CEO being an Indian?
Yes,
So, what was your reaction?
I wasn't really surprised because there are lots of Indian engineers in tech companies in US.
Yes, I have heard about it.
So, what was your first reaction listening to this news?
Uh, Felt very proud about the country that the people from our Indian country are doing really very well. So of course that's really a good thing, and that's also a motivational thing for the other youth to go and to think of being at this position and don't think that India is a backward country anymore. It's on the progressing trend.
Yeah, everyone's talking about it. A lot of people are just like wishing they could be him because there are so many people who aspire to be in tech and be in such higher positions, right? So I've heard people, admiring him. I've heard people criticizing it, saying that, oh, look at him, another engineer in tech who went to the USA. Like, it's just, it's like that. A lot of people are talking about him. So I heard many reactions.
Why are people criticizing?
I think the reason why they are criticizing this would be because there are so many Indian youth, who are leaving the country, and I've seen these conversations under comments about posts about him or in news articles, people discussing that. Look at, Indian youth and Indian talent leaving India. So it's kind of like a loss for India. That's what they believe, because we need such talent as a developing country. But again, it's fair that people want to go for better opportunities. If they get better opportunities abroad, then it's their right to go there.
There is this stereotype in West that there are a lot of Indians who are, engineers. What do you think about this stereotype?
I mean, stereotypes are stereotypes because partly they are true. And it's true that a lot of Indians, especially parents, expect their children to become either engineers or doctors, basically go in STEM careers. And we have, academies and so many training institutes and coaching institutes. I mean, lots of things that pressurize kids into getting into STEM. So it's understandable that there's a stereotype. I don't blame people for believing there are too many engineers in India, because there are.
I would say just like different stereotypes in this world that Asians are bad drivers, women are bad drivers, these are all stereotypes. This is also that Indians want to become engineers is also a stereotype, so treat it like that it's a stereotype. Just because I go into some foreign institution and I'm an Indian and I'm doing physics doesn't mean that I'm from IIT, right? I've been told that, and I've been actually asked that. One of my professors did ask me that, oh, you're Indian, so which IIT are you from? Not all Indians are from IITs, just saying. So yeah, just treat it like any other stereotype.
The stereotype is diluted in some sense in India, but not all of these people go out. Only the technological sector people go out, so that stereotype becomes much more prominent outside India than in India. You can find very good Indian authors, very good Indian poets, singers. There are people in arts sector, there are very good researchers. So there are Indians everywhere and not just in engineering.
What do you do right now?
I'm a PhD student in physics in one of the top universities in USA.
So, why did you personally choose to go to USA?
I felt that the opportunities were nice, the offer was lucrative, and everything was much more streamlined than most of the other countries where I was trying to apply.
Mine is interior designing. I'm a professional interior designer.
I'm working as an analyst at an investment bank. So I've just started working. I graduated a few months ago, and then I joined this firm. In my own family, I have like 3 or 4 cousins who are either engineers or preparing to be engineers or studying it. So that is quite a true stereotype. A lot of my friends are either engineers or STEM students.
Like, I never thought of becoming a teacher. It's just that I was of course working in some tech company, but then I shifted from there. Like, even I'm an engineer by by qualification, not by profession. But yeah, so anyone, even my students, they want to become an engineer or a doctor. So it again ends up to the same story. But then you never know where your life will head you towards.
I'm a teacher by profession. I would say that my sector is more business oriented. The kids are students of industrialists and they are more focused on business rather than all different streams and everything, because they have their own family businesses to handle and stuff. Yeah, so majority of them are those. Then there is a few diversity where someone wants to pursue fashion and someone wants to pursue some other creative field. Yeah.
I'm a researcher slash tutor. So I study the stars, right? I look up at the sky all the time, and I study dying stars, to be precise. And as a side hustle, I'm also a professor. I teach physics to students. So yeah,
How is being engineer perceived in India?
it's a very respectable field, right? Compared to other fields, when you're an engineer, you're looked up at, right? You're looked at with more respect in the field, or rather in the common society. Whenever you say that, oh, you're an engineer, your marriage prospects go up, your job prospects go up, stuff starts to roll. So yeah, that's kind of what happens in India at least.
24 hours working job, a lot of money, a good life in abroad, because the life in India is not that good as compared to abroad. The mentality of people is like, we gonna go abroad, we gonna stay there, we gonna have a good family, we gonna have a good time. So that's why people are going into engineering and they want to settle out of India.
What are the top 3 jobs you'd say, desired jobs?
Of course, engineering first, I would say. Second is being a doctor, and third is just like being an architect or something like that.
Government services or lawyers, or probably just these days people are trying to become entrepreneurs and start their own startups and businesses. That's also become really trendy, and we have a lot of like skilled people and people with ideas, people who want to innovate something. So I guess entrepreneurial jobs are also getting very popular.
People still consider doctors as gods because they are literally trying to bring a person back from almost being dead. So I think engineers are just one or two notches below doctors in terms of prestige. At this point, I think engineers are highly rated, but at the same time, we have so many engineers that some of them have little to no value depending on where and how they are working.
Why do we have so many engineers?
See, people, Indians actually are like, they just want to earn lot of money. They prefer in saving more and spending less. So engineering is a field where you get money easily, but you have to, you have to give your hard work for around 7 to 8 years.
And is it a very competitive field?
Yeah, it is a competitive field because there are a lot of people who are getting into engineering, so there is a competition.
Compared to other fields, engineering is among the most competitive fields in India because, for example, IIT, the approximate number of people who apply for IIT is in several lakhs every year, and out of them only 10,000 get through. So that's like 10% or less than that acceptance rate, so it's extremely competitive. And let alone IITs, it's almost, the case is the same with other top engineering colleges in India as well. There are a lot of engineering colleges, but again, very few are at the higher or rather at the top level of the colleges. So for those colleges, the competition is, I would say, deadly. Literally so, because there are cases where people who are not able to get into these colleges have attempted or committed suicide as well. So that kind of tells you how deadly, or rather how rough and tough the competition in India is for engineering colleges.
It's ruthless in India. Like the competition in schools and colleges, and the amount of coaching institutes, the amount of like suicide rates in India among STEM kids in schools and colleges when they're preparing for, let's say, JEE or NEET or anything else, when they're preparing for entrance exams, we've seen such higher, like, alarming rates of suicide because there's competition to do the best, be the best. So that competition is actually, to a level, it's toxic. It's very harmful to kids. But our culture, just like it's been drilled into us that you have to be the best or you're doomed. So probably that's why there is such a ruthless competition in STEM careers, that kids and school students have to do their best to get into top colleges.
because there are just so many people applying for engineering colleges and there aren't enough good engineering colleges, so few colleges get a lot of attention and they are highly sought after, and at the same time there are lots of new colleges where like most of the seats are left empty even after the semester begins or so.
If you look at India, there are tiers in colleges, right? Like there is a top tier college that imparts great education and that requires a huge amount of fee and all of that. Then there is the middle class tier where okay, you get education and it's all sustainable, it's good. And then there is the lower tier where where people are not concerned, they just want to do it and hence they are doing it, and maybe that is the reason that is why there is a stark difference.
A report showed that there are about 80% of engineers who are unemployed, meaning that they lack the skills that the employer required. Did you know about this stat?
Yeah, the statistics is very well known. One of the reasons why this could happen is because the kind of mentality that a person goes into engineering with, right? I'll score well, I'll get a job, get a 9 to 5 job, life settled, life is fine, right? In order to become an engineer, a successful engineer, the kind of mind that you need, that is a bit rare, right? And the kind of questions that you need to ask, the kind of, like, one of the things that I believe most of the educational institutions in India do not teach you is, at this point at least, is critical thinking, asking questions, how to look at a problem and how to deconstruct it, how to look at something, how to look at, say, for example, look at a car and understanding, okay, this is how it is working, this noise is coming from the car, meaning that this aspect of the car is not well. Stuff like this, spatial knowledge. All of these things are a bit difficult to learn, a bit difficult to grasp for everyone. So that's why many a times people fail at doing that, and generally whenever employers are looking for good engineers, they are looking for these kind of qualities.
The first problem is the infrastructure, because our colleges, the way they teach, the education system and the infrastructure is not up to the mark. I mean, if you compare any Indian kid who has studied in any premier institute like in IIT or anywhere else, and you compare them to anyone else who has studied in, let's say, Harvard or any other institute abroad, there's a world of difference, because our institutes are not equipped enough, our colleges are not equipped enough to prepare students for such jobs. So I think it's like, that's the bigger problem, and obviously job opportunities. We have a major problem of unemployment, so I think that's the reason why engineers don't want to stay here, because there's no job for them to do.
How is it that still so many Indians are going abroad and having such a huge position?
I read about this somewhere, that a lot of Indians are in demand because of the level of work that we are ready to do, because we are genuinely really passionate about working. Indians have that in them. So when Indian kids go abroad and find jobs there, they give much more than the people who live in those countries, like the residents of those countries, which is why Indian engineers are in demand in foreign firms, etc. Because I've heard that they are ready to hire, they are willing to hire us because of the kind of dedication we show, because of the kind of talent that we have. It's raw talent and they just want to polish that. So this is probably the reason why Indians get hired in those firms, because they have raw talent and they have passion, and they are actually willing to give much more than the residents living in those countries.
Where do you think that this passion comes from, this will of working so much?
I guess maybe it's in our culture itself. Like, we are, from a very early age, we're taught to just like give our best to everything and just work hard, study hard, do everything, just like go all out. So that's probably the reason why so many people are ready to give, their best to it, because we're not lazy. This might be like a stereotype somewhere that our generation is lazy or something, but our generation is like super hardworking, is what I've noticed. Especially when they get into the, job sectors, they're much more willing to give a lot of effort, because they genuinely want to work. Like, they show that willingness to work.
So how can we solve this problem of joblessness or, unemployment in India?
I wish I knew. I honestly don't know, because there are so many things that we need to do. Our whole system, be it the education system or our, job sectors, they need a lot of reforms. And it's a collective effort, and a lot of people are not willing to put in that effort. If you go to schools and colleges and if you ask directors of those schools to change the curriculum and add something that's more comprehensive, they'll just look at you and go, why? We don't need to do that. Like they don't want to make those efforts. Our education system doesn't want to, like people are not willing to reform it. So we badly need some reform, and we also need more jobs. We need job creation, which is not my job, which is the government's job. And I wish I could add to it, but like as individuals we can't do much. It has to be a collective effort. Us as as a country we need to do a lot of things. It's not easy, and it'll take a lot of years for us to get over this.
I think parents need to put a little bit of less pressure on kids. They need to be relieved of the peer pressure that they already have of doing engineering, because everyone around them is doing engineering. In some capacity, the government needs to popularize other fields, and they need to be able to attract students to other jobs that are not engineering jobs. There are incentives given by the government, but they are just not popular enough, or they are not well known for the students to accept them.
People should change their mindset and not only think that engineering is the best. There are other professions also, which I just gave you an example. YouTubers nowadays are doing better than even the engineers. So think of something like that, and that is the solution. So just to give a simple solution for the same, divide the crowd for all different fields. So there is no saturation only in one particular field. That's it.
Hey guys, we just wanted to make this quick closing segment to acknowledge our Asian Boss reporter Aqsa for doing such a fantastic job with this street interview. Just a few weeks ago, we learned that Aqsa's father unexpectedly passed away, and that it's been absolutely devastating for her. We've known Aqsa for a long time, and all of our thoughts are with Aqsa and her family during this difficult time. Aqsa actually graduated in physics from one of the top colleges in India, and she really wanted to do this interview as a tribute to her father. So great job, Aqsa. Your father must be so proud. May he rest in peace.